What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. If you've ever played Helldivers 2, you know that all enemies are not created equal. There are some good ones, there are some bad ones. Today I'm going to be putting them on a tier list, giving my opinions on how I feel about each individual enemy type in the game. There's like 80 something of them. I'm going to be ranking everyone based on a criteria of multiple things: how they look, how they play, how annoying they are, how frequent they are, what their kind of quirks are and stuff. And we're going to put them on a tier list based off just of many factors like those and just generally my opinion on them. So here's the tier list. I kind of made the tiers myself, so I have them based off the. Let me zoom this out a little bit so you can see it better. But I have it based off like the mission success tiers. The mission success tiers. So we have gallantry beyond measure, the top, superior valor, number 2, honorable duty, and then we just have mid. Cause I didn't feel like making 6 tiers because kind of uneven. I like have a middle, like literally in the middle of the tiers. Unremarkable performance, disappointing service, and disgraceful conduct, rounding out the bottom. But I also have a wiki article just to make sure that I know what the enemy type is called. Yeah, that's about all there is to it. We're gonna get started on this tier list. It's a lot to go through. Hopefully this doesn't take up too much time. But anyway, starting off at our first one, looks like we're going to go through all the terminated ones. We are starting with, and there's some of these I really don't like. I don't really care about the fucking civilians and the thief soldiers and shit and Helldivers in general, so we're not going to do those. But anyway, starting with number 1, we have the Scavenger, which is, I believe, like the real tiny motherfuckers that kind of crawl around. Like they're kind of like one of those terminated enemies that like you can one shot pretty easily. I feel like there's like all 4 of these you can kind of one shot easily. I mean, and the thing, it's hard to distinguish between the bugs because they all look very alike. They look a lot similar to each other, and and there's so many different types that you really just don't even think about, the different types. But this one, small tournament that groups up to overwhelm and distract Helldivers. It will eventually molt into a warrior. It's basically just a lower tier bug that like kind of bunches up a lot of time, and I think they're on patrols and stuff with whatever these ones are called. Anyway, these ones are kind of, I don't know, they're kind of, I feel like a lot of these like lower tier bugs are just not really my cup of tea. So I'm not really a huge fan of these lower tier ones. They kind of just get one shot and you kind of forget about them, or they come out in a bug breach and you just drop napalm on them. As far as I know, pretty much any of these can call in a bug breach. That's one of the downsides of fighting the bugs, is that a lot of these enemy types can call in a bug breach. So not getting a bug breach during a mission is just damn near impossible. But next up we have the Pouncer, which is a hunter that's just weak. This is a lower tier hunter. Flies at you and kind of attacks you. Kind of just like the same thing as this one, but it flies, so I guess it's a bit better. I just drop you down to there. Put them in unremarkable performance tier. The only unique quirk about them is that they jump at you. I mean, I don't know what else to say. They get one tap. They are on patrols a lot of times, and in numbers they can kind of fuck you up. But to be honest, I'm not really worried about them. One fucking grenade, like from a grenade pistol or a grenade launcher, if you bring the support weapon, is just it's just gonna wipe out an entire group of these things. So unless you're just caught completely off guard, these guys aren't really something that I particularly worry about. Next up are the bile spitters, which I know for a fact can call in. They can call in a bug breach. It looks like the wiki does not say which ones do and which ones don't. But these are another one of those things that just kind of, I mean, they can shoot ranged attacks at you. They do kind of hurt when they hit you with those. But a lower tier bug from the bile spewers, I'm not really. I mean, I don't really care, man. Like this is another one of those. I mean, I guess they're kind of up a little bit because they pop when you kill them. But another one of those enemies that you just kind of like launch a grenade at and you kind of forget about them. Next up, we have this is the hunter, which is another one of the light enemy types. Not quite a stalker, but I think these are kind of like an intermediate between a pouncer and the stalker. The hunter is, yeah, I guess they can fly at you. They're kind of sneaky. Yeah, just not very memorable. Final one we that's kind of memorable is the Shriekers. One of the few ones that are just only flying at you. They only come from Shrieker towers, and kind of get forgotten about in a lot of missions because usually you can take out Shrieker towers from a distance with either like a Quasar, a Walker, with autocannon. I mean, any Walker can do it. Recoilless rifles, like you don't really worry about these as much because they're not very common. Even when they do attack you, they're pretty easy to dispatch with the right weaponry. I mean, they usually get one-shotted. The only inconvenience about them is if they land on you, you're getting fucked up, and you can easily die to them if you kill one, it hits you, and then another one dies on you that you didn't see, and you get fucking ripped in half, or your head is cut off. But not something that's very common that you see in the bug front. I mean, there's always Shrieker towers, but they usually don't spawn from them very often. Next up, we have the Warrior, which is you pretty much find them anywhere. I'm pretty sure the Brood Commander can spawn them whenever they want. I don't remember these being able to spawn in like a bug breach. Their heads are a big target. It's usually what kills them. You shoot them in the head, and they kind of go on for a little bit. They don't go as long as the Brood Commander, but they do go on for a little bit, and then they die. All these enemies are light armor pinning, by the way. You can pin them with any weapon in the game, so they're not really hard to dispatch. They have weak points all across their body. They have no strong points, but their head is definitely their biggest weak point and is a pretty big target, especially once they're going to be running towards you and that presents a big target. Pops their heads pretty easily. They're pretty common. They're all around. They're all around like pretty much any hard point in the game in the mission. They're in like bug outposts, bug holes, all that stuff. They spawn from bug holes, I believe, as well. So overall, I'm gonna put them honorable duty. I do like the aesthetic of them. I think they are something that's not terribly easy to dispatch, but not something that's terribly hard to dispatch either. Pretty middle of the road, I'd say, when it comes to the bugs in terms of like just everything. But I like the way it looks. I like, I'm never like pissed off when I run into them, but I'm never like, oh shit, it's a fucking warrior, man. I can't wait to fight now. And next up, we have the Brood Commander, which is, I guess these are the two different types. I don't really know what the difference between the red one and the gray one. So there's the Alpha Commanders, and there's the Brood Commanders. I don't really see a. They have higher health and armor than that Inkensema Alpha Warriors. So they're the same enemy type, just different. This one has more health, has red shell, and they can summon a higher tier enemy. Obviously, they can call in bug breaches. The thing I really hate about these things is that when you shoot their head, they keep it going, man. Like it's kind of like with the Warriors where you shoot their head and they kind of go on for a little bit. No, these things go on for like a solid 3 seconds after you shoot their heads off, if not longer. I have died quite a few times wearing medium armor where I shoot its head off, try to get away, it's still coming at me, bang, bang, I'm dead. And it's pretty annoying when that happens. Not particularly my favorite. Okay, now these are not Brood Commanders at all. These are Bile Warriors. So these are a different type. The Bile Warriors, they have a green bile sac on them, on their underbelly. They only appear in missions of challenging difficulty or higher. They have the same traits as a warrior, but due to the unstable biochemistry, when they are killed, it will cause a small bile explosion that can severely injure a nearby Helldiver. It is recommended to kill them at point blank range. Not to kill them at point blank range. So I believe these were the ones I was referring to that kind of like when you pop their heads, they last a lot longer. So these are kind of a bit more annoying, in my opinion. A bitch to deal with a lot of the times because, like I said, they have that ability to you shoot their heads and then they bang bang, you're dead. And it's just kind of annoying to deal with. So I like the design, but because of that mechanic, bro, I'm putting them in unremarkable performance tier. And then next is another variant of this type, which I'm guessing is the Spore Burst Warrior. So even though this thing looks very similar to that, it doesn't appear that this is actually a warrior variant. I'm guessing since they look extremely similar, pretty much the same thing. I'm guessing this is a type of warrior, and it's probably the same thing except it doesn't explode in bile. But I mean, the difference in that in between them is marginal. They probably both have similar health. They get their heads blown off and they still attack you for quite a while. So this is just like a different variant of the Bile warrior, which is kind of tough. But anyway, I'm tired. I'm tired of looking for whatever specific variant that was. I looked through the wiki, I couldn't find it. So next up, we have the Hive Guard, which is another one of those kind of annoying ones when if you're bringing a light armor pen. It's like this is the first one that requires medium pen to get through like the harder surfaces of it. It'll go into that lowered stance where it can be pretty tricky to aim to the soft bits, but it can be killed with light armor penning if you know where to aim and have a decent, like not high recoiling weapon, which usually you're not going to have a high recoil weapon when fighting the bugs or when using a light pen, and usually not going to be having heavy pen using fighting the bugs, which usually that applies to. But if you have medium armor pen, it's pretty much just like any other bug with a bit more health. They do have quite a bit of damage. They can spawn from bug holes, if I remember, but they're usually always around outposts. Pretty common bug type that can call in bug breaches. But what I'm trying to get at here is that with light armor pinning, they can be pretty annoying. With medium armor pin or anything above light armor, they're not really that difficult. Explosives are pretty easy. Can be very helpful against them. What else is there to say, man? They're pretty mid. Not my favorite bug type. Like I said, if you're usually using light armor pinning because pretty much any one of these bugs except this one so far are easily to dispatch with light armor pinning, but this one can be a bit tricky, like I said. Next up, we have one of the bile spewers. This is a nursing spewer, which is a special type female variant of the bile spewer. Light armor, a weaker form of the bile spewer. They are a common sight on easy to medium difficulties. So I'm guessing this is just like an unarmored variant of like a light armor variant of the normal bile spewers, so just an easier version. They probably have this pretty much the same mechanics. So I guess I'll put that in mid tier, and then we'll put the actual bile spewers on probably a bit lower tier, like at the top of unremarkable performance. These things can be really freaking annoying on the later tiers or when there's a shit ton of them because they can be a huge ass patrol of them just fucking you up from a distance. So definitely not my favorite enemy type, and they can be kind of annoying to deal with, especially with light armor pinning weapons, which you're going to be typically using against the bugs, unless you're using like a Liberator Penetrator or maybe the AR2 Coyote. Those are probably the two choices that I typically bring if I'm using medium pen. So with that, like I said, you're not really going to worry about it because there's really no bug other than later tier ones that are actually going to be a problem for medium armor pinning. But anyway, if you hit, they do have light armor on the sides here on the back. If you can get behind them, and also on the front, if you shoot their mouth, their heads kind of pop just like anything else, and then they explode in bile, which can damage you. It's like a little area of effect, and they have like that burning sensation, which I think slows you down quite a bit. So next up, we have, I believe, okay, this is the standard brute commander. It's usually around like main objectives, and they can spawn in warriors whenever they please. And they can also call in bug breaches. They have that. I believe they also have that mechanic where if you pop their heads, they can go on for quite a while and still kill you. This is a lower tier variant of the Brood Commander. I believe this is the Alpha Brood Commander, which is usually what I face because I play on harder difficulties. But I think these are probably in Superior Valor. I even pit both. I think these are cool. They're kind of like the upper echelon of the light armor pinning bugs, and I mean, I'm gonna drop this one because these are a bit more common. I know for a fact that they have the same mechanic as these two do, where like if you blow their heads off, they continue at you. And I've died so many times to that bullshit where you think you got them, or you think you're far enough away, and then bang bang, you're dead, and then they die. It's really freaking annoying to deal with that. I know it's a bit biased, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea to have to deal with that. Like I said, they can spawn enemy, they can do bug breaches. I'm guessing the alpha ones, you're gonna drop the alpha warriors, and the normal ones do the normal warriors. I mean, it is what it is. Next up, we have probably my favorite, which is the stalker. So these can only spawn. I don't think they can spawn from bug breaches at all. They can only spawn from stalker lairs, which kind of makes them something that's not a super common sight on the bug front, because you might just find a stalker nest and they just will never spawn one. You just easily kill it because there's one hole. You just drop a grenade in and they never spawn in, or you just never find it because they can be pretty difficult to find on certain maps. But you can definitely tell that there's a stalker nearby because they make a pretty unique sound when they're nearby, and they can turn invisible. Not very hard to dispatch in general. I feel like their health isn't the highest, and they, like I said, they can go invisible. They get to sneak on you, but if you know where to look and you know what they sound like, you kind of always know when there's a stalker nearby. Also, probably one of my favorite types. I'll put them in the Gallantry Beyond Measure. Probably my favorite bug type in the game. Next up, we have the Chargers, which in some instances are pretty freaking annoying, and others not so bad. But basically, they are complete armored up. I think all this armor right here is like anti-tank tier. Like you cannot pin it with heavy armor, piercing rounds. I haven't really tried, but I'm pretty sure the face is heavy armor piercing and the tail is like medium armor piercing. But basically, what these things do is they charge at you, and if they hit you, they can like ragdoll you to death, or they can just knock you over. Usually, they just ragdoll you to death. But this is pretty easy to avoid if you know how to time a dive and then get behind it, and then you see his weak spot, which is his butt, and you can either like shoot a grenade at it or whatever support weapon you have, or you can even just shoot it. But that takes a bit of time, and typically on the higher difficulties, you'll have multiple of these chasing you, so you're gonna need to have something more than just a normal weapon usually, and maybe unless you have the eruptor. But the easiest way to counter these things, from my experience, is if you bring like a recoilless rifle or a quasar or anything like that that's anti-tank, just shoot it in the head, it dies immediately, and that's pretty easy. If you bring like something that's a bit lower, like heavy armor pinning, like I believe the grenade launcher is, in similar weapons like the grenade launcher tier, you wait for it to charge past you and you just blow up his tail. But you still, I'm pretty sure, soak damage into it if you shoot it in the face with a grenade launcher, and it can kill it in like less than a mag from a grenade launcher. So I'm gonna put them up into superior valor tier though. And then we have the vile version of them, which is pretty much clouds up the whole area, makes it annoying to see, pretty much a plume of smoke. And then when you kill them, they blow up into a bile mess. So I'm gonna put them in like mid tier. Not really my favorite. And these are I guess, the alpha variant of them, which I think I see more often. I don't really know what the difference is. Maybe they have more health. Yeah, there's a Spore Charger and there's the Behemoth Charger. I think a bit more common on high tiers. I mean, these both occur pretty often. It just seems like it's a more heavily armored variant of the Charger, so we're going to drop it a tier. And these are the Impalers, which on one side are pretty easy because they stick their tentacles in and you see it. That exposes their weak spot. And anything like a couple quasar cannon shots, a recoilless rifle shot, like half a mag from a grenade, a thermite grenade. Pretty sure a thermite grenade can kill it in one shot. Don't quote me on that. It might take multiple. But it exposes its weak point. But those tentacles, if you don't see where it's coming from, can absolutely destroy you. And if you're wearing medium armor, can very easily just one tap you. So these guys can be, on one hand, very easy to dispatch, and then on the other hand are fucking annoying as a fuck to try and do. They are pretty much guaranteed to appear in a bug breach. From my experience, there's always at least one of them. They can be wandering around on their own. Not something that's super common, but you'll probably run into 2 or 3 of these per mission if you're playing on like anything around like an 8. So suicide mission up to super hell dive, you'll be running these pretty frequently. Not the toughest enemy to dispatch in the bugs, but a pretty annoying one. We're going to put these guys in the mid tier. Next up, we have the Bile Titans, which are in the upper echelon of the bugs. Pretty common in, I think, every difficulty, and pretty easy to dispatch. One shot is the face with a quasar, kills it. A few grenade launcher shots kills it. Maybe like a mag and a half, or just a mag, kills it. Recoilless rifle does the same thing. They are decently fast, and they do like to spew their bile, which can like instantly freaking kill you. You know, that's if you get too close to them, they're pretty tough. But I think out of all the like highest tier units for the for the factions, I think the Bile Titan's probably the easiest. Maybe other than the Harvester that we're gonna go over later on. But Bile Titan, like I said, one shot to the face kills it. They're not too difficult to deal with. But when you have one or two chasing you, they can be a pretty difficult enemy to try and deal with. So I'm gonna put that in the upper tier of Superior Valor. This might be a hot take, and since we're here, I mean, you can't really tell what this is based off the freaking blurry image. But this is I'm assuming the Dragon Roach. I cannot stand the Dragon Roach, man. These things are so freaking tanky. I've literally seen one tank a leveler shot to the body. Granted, it wasn't its weak spot. It wasn't its head or its wings, but it tanked a body shot from a leveler and still survive. They take so many shots from auto cannons, whether it be like the handheld one or the auto cannons on the exosuit, and the fire that they breathe out doesn't have to be anywhere close to you, and it will still somehow get you on fire. It's crazy. They'll do like a little dive attack. You're gonna get hit by it every freaking time. Then they'll sit up and spew some more at you. If you get hit by that too, you're just dead. So kind of a lose-lose situation when fighting this thing. Not my favorite. I'm actually gonna put it in Disgraceful Contact. That's probably my least favorite boss. Like not boss, but like bug in the game. Next up, we have the Hive Lords, which are pretty much only on like the highest resistant bug worlds. Probably the one I've seen the most on is Oshune. You pretty much always get one on planets like that. They're pretty annoying, but not terribly bad, especially on maps like Oshune that have a lot of caves. They can't really fuck with you in there, but they are pretty much impossible to kill. I think of all the times I've counted these things, I've only killed one once, and it's because everyone was just constantly shooting at it, and it finally just decided to kill over. It has like a slam attack that's pretty annoying. It has like a vomit attack that's even more annoying, and this thing be popping out everywhere. And if it pops out underneath you, you get launched to space, but still somehow survive the fall. Not my favorite. I don't really like the Hive Lords at all. Now, I believe this is the Predator variant of the Stalker, and these things are absolutely freaking terrifying in a good way, man. These things give you a great challenge. These things be jumping at you. They don't even need camouflage, bro. They're so aggressive. The Predator strained bugs are just completely juiced out of their minds. Definitely the most difficult type, and I don't even think it's for me. I've never tried a super hell dive against a Predator strain. I don't even want to know what that looks like. These things are absolutely crazy. Definitely the hardest enemy types in the game, hands down. And then next we have, I believe, this is some kind of Predator strain. Let me just see what it might be. I believe this is the Predator Hunter. Yeah, probably pretty close to the same boat as the Predator Stalker, just not nearly as intense. These things are, anything in the Predator strain are going to be super aggressive, and they're going to absolutely tear your ass a new one. So just pretty much a normal hunter, but with more health and all that stuff, and more aggressive. Next up, we have the Spore Burst variants of each type. First one, we have the Spore Burst Scavenger. Like, these are just buffed up variant types, and I think they explode when you kill them, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Spore Burst Scavenger is a special mutation of low scavenger caused by termites prolonged exposure to the gloom, causing them to gain a white carapace with red flesh-like undertones. They appear to have some kind of fungi growing on their head and the tips of their legs. Spore Burst Scavengers are still slow and have not gained any attack boost or speed increases, still posing little threat except their ability to release pheromones, calling for backup from bigger and more deadlier terminids. So yeah, they can call in bug breaches. Other than they got no real boost over a normal scavengers. So where we put scavengers? Right here. We'll put a tier above because I do like their design a lot. We have the Spore Burst Stalker, I believe. This will be the Spore Burst Hunter, which, let me see if there's any difference. They release Clouds upon death, which does damage to Helldivers around it. So they kind of explode whenever they die, and it's just a buffed up hunter, which I believe it doesn't really say if they gain much health. They aren't any more aggressive. They just explode when they blow up when they die. So I'll just put them right there. Because like I said, I like their design. And finally, we have the Spore Burst Warrior, which they also do a gas cloud when they die as well. So they're all pretty much the same, except they look cool and they have released that gas when they die. Next up, probably my least favorite variant of the bugs is the burrowers. All of these suck, man. Literally all these suck. I hate all of them. Especially if I could go a tier below. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna put these two here, and then this one is gonna be at the bottom of the bottom. Literally, probably my least favorite bug, or any enemy type might be the freaking burrowing warriors, man. These motherfuckers will sit in the ground constantly. If you don't have a grenade launcher or any kind of explosive, they will stay burrowed underground until they get right next to you, and then they'll pop up and immediately fucking hit you every single fucking time. And there will be like fucking 10 of these on your ass. Well, on the last major order that I played in, which was very recently, there was a planet with these motherfuckers on it, and they were on Osha Une too, and they were so fucking annoying because unless you have a grenade launcher, like a grenade launcher is a must, because if you don't have one, you cannot get these motherfuckers out of the ground. They will not take damage, and they will come right up on top of you and fucking just immediately hit you. They also have armor, so they're kind of just like the hive guards or whatever these things are called. They're kind of like those, but they can burrow in the ground. So they still have that armor ability. They still have the same. They still behave like them, but they can burrow underground, and that's the most annoying mechanic because you cannot damage them with conventional weapons. You can only hit harm with explosive weapons, and not counting the AR2 Coyote, of course. And they will just fucking pounce on you, and they'll pretty much hit you every time. I can't tell you how many times I died doing that. And then the Charger and the Bile-Spear, also the Bile-Spear is worse because they'll sit in the ground and shoot at you the whole time. And then the Chargers honestly aren't that bad, mainly because, unless they pop out right underneath you, they don't really stay in the ground that long. But these two are fucking annoying. Matter of fact, put you down there too, but you're not the worst. We're actually going to put you above the bug roaches. They're dragon roaches. Yeah, fuck these things. Probably my least favorite enemy in the game. Like, spoiler alert. I fucking hated these things. They're in the major order. Okay, we're on to bots now. Alright, we're on to the bots now. And starting off, we have the standard trooper. Honestly, these guys are pretty much all mid. I'm not gonna lie. These guys are a bit lower because these are the ones who call in the bot drops. I ain't gonna put them that low. I'll put them like right here. It's a bit lower because they call in the bot drops, but you got these guys who charge you with swords. This guy who charges you with, or just shoots at you, and then this guy does kind of a bit of both, with a pistol and a sword, and then here's the rocket guy, which can also be kind of annoying too. But you right there, you right here, and then you right here. But the bots, I mean, they're all light armor pinning. You shoot them in the head, they instantly die. They can get killed by anything. A grenade really fucks them up. And here are, I'm guessing, the incineration core versions of them. Like instead of so they explode when you shoot. I think this is the jetpack, the jet brigade version, and then this is the incineration core version, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, this is like all the jet brigade. So this, I guess, is the incineration core version of them. The flamethrower I don't like because they always be catching you on fire and doing absurd amounts of damage. And there's a bunch of them, like, you just can't fucking avoid them. Them flamethrowers have some reach. This, I'm not even really sure what this one is. Maybe it's just the ones that throw the flame grenades or something. I'm not really sure which version of that it is. But the thing about the incineration core version of these guys is that when you shoot them, they're able to explode because they have jet fuel on the back of them, or fuel for their flamethrowers. So they blow up, and then that can damage you in turn. So pretty rough, but These guys can fuck you up pretty easily if they get close. They can like more like 2 or 3 shot you. These guys don't really bother me as much because usually they miss, but when they do hit you, I usually bring fortified, so it doesn't really do much. These guys are pretty standard. These guys are annoying because they call them bot drops, and that's about it. So, and all these are light armor pinning. You can pin them with anything. You know, all good there. Next up, we have the, I believe these are the berserkers. Oh, this is the commissar, by the way. This is kind of a different type, but apparently it boosts morale. I don't think that's a mechanic. But next up, we have the berserker, which is a more heavily armored version of like the dual sworded trooper, where they have chainsaws instead, and those can two-shot you like very easily. And they have medium armor all around their bodies, except for like this kind of like their waistline right there and their face. Their face is really weak to light armor pinning. Like if you shoot them a couple times in the face, they're just gonna die. Their head's gonna explode. But you know, not too bad. Just don't let them get close. Other than that, pretty simple to deal with. But they do be catching you by surprise sometimes. I think they look pretty cool though, so we're gonna put them like right here. Next up, we have the Devastator, which I believe yes has a single the little dual cannon on them. Don't really see these too often on the hard difficulties, but they do exist. Kind of the same thing with the Berserker. They have weak points on their head and waistline, and then the rest of their body is medium armor. So like you're gonna these like your Liberator Penetrator or whatever, but usually you're gonna be packing that against the boss. You're gonna have some kind of medium armor pinning or heavy armor pinning weaponry. So they're not having medium armor around them isn't really that big of a deal unless you're using a secondary for whatever reason that might be. So we're gonna be putting you here. I do typically like the bots. I ain't gonna lie. I actually might like them more than I might put you up. I'm gonna put you right there. So then we have the rocket variant of the Devastator, which is pretty much the same, except they have these rocket pods on the top, and they are fucking super annoying because these are like one of the main culprits that causes you to fling across the fucking map because they send so many rockets at you. You can blow up the rockets on their back, but it won't quite kill them. It'll say taken damage prior, and they still have the cannon, so that doesn't really completely disable them. But you know, kind of same deal with the other Devastator, except it has the rockets, which, like I said, really fuck you up and have you being launched all across the map. Definitely probably one of my least favorite bots. We're gonna put them in like Hive Lord area. Then we have the heavy like machine gun Devastator, which kills you probably quicker than like other than maybe the Hulks and the tank and the factory strider. Like these things probably kill you the quickest, and maybe other than your gunships. These things, like if they hit you with like every shot, you are dead within like half a second. These things can absolutely destroy your health. Absolutely ridiculous. These things, and they have that shield too, so you have that. They have that added protection. That I believe is heavy armor piercing, if not heavy armor, if not just anti-tank tier armor. So like you're not really getting through it. And then sometimes they'll be over all their weak spots, even though they can still shoot at you, and then they'll just fuck you up. Probably, around the same tier. But I'm gonna put them a tier above the Rocket Devastators. You know, the Scout Striders and then you have the Rocket Striders. Scout Striders I don't really run into very often because I don't have to play on the difficulty that they're typically on. But they have pretty much, I believe, medium armor all around the front. Their weak points are like their legs, the middle section right here, and then obviously the bot in the back. The only difference is we hit those weak points on a Rocket Strider, they're out of the fight. But if you have the weak spot on them, then the bot will hop off and they'll still be a threat too. So overall, kind of mid. Not really my favorite bot. Then we have the Rocket Strider, which is like the same variant, except they have a completely encompassed with medium armor. Their big weak spots are the rockets, the middle section right here, and the legs. Usually I target the middle section. I used to hit the missiles on the sides because I would usually instantly kill them, and that's our light armor, so you can easily pin them with anything. But at least on Cyberstan and recently, like whenever I blow those up, it doesn't instantly kill them. So they're a bit tougher now, and those rockets can easily one-shot you, even if you're wearing fortified if they hit you in the right spot. But I do like them a bit better than normal Scout Striders. So we have the Hulks now. I don't really know the difference between these two, but you have the one with the missile. This might just have dual cannons. I believe this one's like the dual cannons. Don't really remember running into them very often, but basically the health gimmick of the Hulk is they have a big weak spot, a light armor weak spot on their back, and then their eyeball is like heavy armor pinning, and everything else is anti-tank. So you're gonna need like a recoilless rifle or something of the like to consistently kill it. And even if you shoot in the arm, it'll just knock its arm off and it'll still be alive. So the best strategy I've used, if I bring the Eruptor, I'm gonna try to aim for the eye. Obviously, if you can get behind it, you can easily kill it. But if not, you're gonna have to bring like either a Quasar, a thermite grenade would really help, or a recoilless rifle or something anti-tank that can penetrate that armor anywhere, shoot it in the center of the mass, and you'll take it out in one shot. But it can be really annoying if you don't have a support weapon on you, and they can get pretty close and destroy your HP. This variant of it, not really something I run into very often from what I can remember, but definitely mid tier. Then you have the, I believe this is the flamethrower and saw variant, or is it? No, that's what that one is. No, that's the jet brigade one. This is like the incinerator version of it, which has the like saw blade hand that can literally one shot you with any armor, and the flamethrower, which probably are my least favorite because they're really aggressive. Makes it harder to hit their weak spot if you're not bringing a support weapon. And like I said, if they catch you by surprise and that saw is in hand, bro, and you get hit by it, you're toast, bro. You're toast. So we're gonna put that on a lower tier. And then this one is probably the easiest variant of them. It has like the rocket and the machine gun. They stand perfectly still, make it a very easy target for you to hit their weak spot. And overall, not too bad. So for that reason, I'm gonna put them up on a higher tier. I like the easier variants. Ooh, all right, about halfway through. Next up, we have the War Strider, which is like the Rocket Devastator, a enemy type that slings you across the map. I think it's super annoying. Used to, they didn't have this like sensor thing on the top of their head, so they didn't have like a heavy armor weak point. You could only take them out with anti-tank. And if you hit them right up here, it would take 2 shots, but the legs, the center, the little crotch right here would take it out in 1 shot. Usually what I do is I bring a Quasar or a recoilless rifle and just shoot them right here. Pops their head right off, they die in 1 shot. But they're super annoying when they send those cluster of grenades. And their cannons are also something that can easily kill you if they hit you consistently. So yeah, these guys are pretty freaking annoying and probably in a lower tier than, or not lower tier, but probably my least favorite bot in the game. I ain't gonna hold you. Next up, we have the tank, which has, it's kind of like a typical tank, has a coaxial like machine gun and a cannon on it. On the back of its turret has a very vulnerable weak spot, which like the Hulk is light armor pinning. So you can kill it that way if you can get behind it without it turning a turret, which usually isn't the case. Usually what I do to take them out is just bring a recoilless rifle or a quasar cannon. Usually that one-shots them. But frequently when I see them is when they get dropped in bot drops, and they can like easily kill you with their machine gun or their cannon. So they are definitely a threat, but not too difficult to dispatch if you have the right equipment. So, but I actually like the tank, so I'm going to put them probably probably up here, man. Then we have like the machine gun, like anti-air variant of the tank. Just a very much like a lot easier one to deal with, and just like a less cool variant of the tank. Really, it just shoots them. It has like quad machine guns, and usually for some reason, the quad machine gun on this variant is not as deadly as the one on the normal tank. I don't know why. I just never died to this thing. It has, I feel like it has lower like health, and it still has that weak point on the back, but like I said, I usually don't attack that. I usually just like bring a quasar or something anti-tank and just blow it up that way, but I usually don't die to this thing. And then you have the rocket one, which actually has a heavy armor weak point right where their missiles come out right here. That's a very vulnerable weak spot. But usually, kind of like the the machine gun one, like the anti-air one, these guys really don't these guys really don't kill me very often, and you stick it with thermite, hit with an anti-tank weapon, it's going down. So, and usually the rockets don't usually hit, in my experience. Ooh, this might take the cake for my least favorite enemy type in the bot front, and that is the gunships. The thing about gunships is if you have one of them, they're not too bad. Or two fabricators. If you have two fabricators, you're in for a fucking shitty time. If there's three fabricators, which has happened before, if they have three gunship fabricators, you are just getting fucked the whole time until somebody somehow takes out the fabricator. I've had a few, especially on Cyberstan, I had a few instances where there would be three gunship fabricators, and literally you could not do a single thing. There would be three of them, three gunships on your ass, just mowing you down the whole time, and it would be so annoying. They also have the rockets too, which is icing on the cake because their machine gun is already annoying enough. But then they also have the fucking rockets that will knock you all over the place and kill you that way, dude. If you have like more than two, even two is bad enough. But if you have three freaking gunships on you, it's just wraps. It is just wraps. The best thing you can hope for is hope they never spawn because the bots never see you and you can easily blow up their gunship fabricators. If I see a gunship and or a fabricator, I'm going straight for it and I'm fucking blowing it up. But the engines are pretty susceptible to anti-tank weaponry. I usually like to use the Quasar. I think it's the best because it doesn't have any bullet drop and it I feel like it has a higher velocity than that. It might be the same as the recoilless rifle, but if you hit their engines, it'll one shot them even with the Quasar. Pretty nice, but yeah, I probably not as bad as like the bugs here, probably like right here. But damn, are they freaking annoying. And I think these are drop ships. I don't really care about the drop ships at all. Next up, we have the Factory Striders. If you know how to take them out, they're pretty bad, but not that bad. If you don't know how to take them out, these things are an absolute tank. So, they have a big cannon on top, just like the cannon on like a tank or a heavy turret. That will just absolutely one-shot you. But I think usually what I die to with a Factory Strider are the guns underneath its head. Like they have like dual cannons right there that just absolutely destroy your health and they don't miss. They also can spawn in Devastators and the like and Berserkers from their underbelly. And when that happens, that's a pretty big weak spot. But the most success I have when it comes to fighting Factory Striders is shooting that like right eyeball right here with an anti-tank weapon. Like a recoilless rifle will one-shot the Factory Striders if you shoot it in that eyeball. Other than that, it's going to take like a hell bomb, multiple 500-kilogram bombs, an orbital laser, stuff like that to take this thing out. This thing is so tanky, covered in anti-tank armor except for underneath. I think that's like medium or heavy armor pinning underneath it. You can probably throw a couple thermites in there. I think it'll kill it. But and this thing is an absolute beast. It's probably, but low key probably my favorite bot enemy in the game. I like how it looks like an AT-AT from Star Wars. I like that, man. I like the way it looks. Might not be my favorite to deal with, but when these things drop in, it has like that wow factor to it, and I think it just look cool. The cannon can be annoying. If they didn't have the cannon, I wouldn't care as much about. I would like it even more. But these things aren't super hard to deal with. They have that glaring weak point that can one shot them, and they look cool as fuck. So next up, we have the Jet Brigade enemies. I don't know why they put every type in here. I'm just gonna put them all in like mid tier. To be honest, I don't really fuck with the Jet Brigade that much. All it does is give them the ability to get closer to you. Instead of like having to run towards you, they can just jetpack to you and they'll be straight towards you. And especially knowing with like the melee types, like the melee troopers or the Hulks that have melee, like these ones, it can be especially annoying. I think the Hulks it's the worst because let me switch these because uh because not only do they have that them small weak points if you don't have anti-tank, or even if you do have anti-tank, they can jump right when you shoot and you'll miss them, and they can just close so much distance with that ability, especially with like the flamethrower and saw ones. These are the most annoying types because they will just jump right next to you, saw you in half, or cut you on fire, and it's pretty annoying. Oh, this is the incineration core. Then what the fuck are these? Anyway, these guys, I kind of thought they were these guys, but we'll just put them right here. I guess this is like a trooper with a heavy cannon or something on it. I don't think I've ever ran into these, so I don't think I'm going to rate them. And here we got the cyborgs. We have two variants. We have like the armored variant, who shoots like a more like precision weapon, and the less armored cyborg with the shotgun that just kind of beat the shit out of you. So this one's a lot more aggressive. They'll throw a smoke grenade and just absolutely blitz towards you. And if you get a group of them, you're just getting jumped. Like that scene from Jujutsu Kaisen. They also have the shotgun, which can really fuck you up at close range. But they do have light armor around all their obvious weak spots, which is where their flesh is. If you shoot them in the head a couple times with light armor pinning, they're going to go down. And like a grenade or something. Like I usually like to use the grenade pistol against them because I feel like it does a lot of damage. It one shots them, so I feel like that's pretty effective against them. Overall, yeah, not really. Wasn't really my cup of tea. I mean, it was nice to see a fresh new enemy, but they weren't my favorite. I'll be honest. And then we have that more armored variant, which is more annoying because they're less aggressive, but they have a precision weapon which can absolutely destroy you, and they have more armor. So they have like, I think it's also light armor, but it protects them and makes them absorb more damage that way. I think their head might be medium armor, but their chest and stuff are not. I can't really remember. But these things were causing havoc on Cyrustan, and these are probably my least favorite versions of them. And then we have, finally, for the bots, the Vox engine. These three are the newest enemy types for the bots, and the Vox engine struck terror in at least my heart. These things are absolute freaking units. The only thing I could see that could consistently one-shot it was a Hell Bomb. 500 kilogram bombs ain't making it flinch. Anti-tank weapons aren't fucking doing nothing to it. It'll take a few shots. Like, it'll take like half the ammo you have from a recoilless rifle to kill this thing. I'm not really sure exactly where all its weak spots are, but I heard that the back of its like head here can one-shot it with anti-tank. And of course, if you hit like two vents on the back and the vent underneath, it'll open up a hatch where you can throw a grenade in, and it'll one-shot them. But damn, these things have a rocket barrage, two machine guns on the sides on its tracks, and then these two heavy cannons that just absolutely eviscerate you if they have you dialed in, and usually they freaking do. Just have you absolutely dialed in. And the rockets aren't too bad, but I feel like their radius of damage is a bit much, but they're not too bad. It's just mainly these cannons right here that just absolutely wreck you, and just the amount of health this thing has. These things can take a absolute beating. The only thing I've seen, like, oh, the leveler also one shots it from what I've seen, or at least almost one shots it if you hit it in the right spot. But yeah, these things, I think they're cool. They shout slurs at you from an intercom. I think these things are actually pretty freaking cool. I think they're my favorite out of all the cyborg type enemies. Now we have the faction with the least amount of types, and that is the Illuminate. But we have the Voteless. Honestly, one of my least favorite enemies in the game. These things just come at you in hordes. It's even worse in the book. They're even worse than the bugs a lot of the time. One napalm or napalm artillery barrage can really fuck them up. But these things just come at you with such numbers, it can be kind of hard to keep up on the hard difficulties. But by themselves, they're easy. One or two shots from a light armor pinning weapon can absolutely wreck it. But I'm not really a big fan of the Bolas myself. Then we have the Watcher. I call them Seekers, but the Watchers. The thing that makes the Illuminate, in my opinion, the easiest faction in the game is because of these things. So these things' sole purpose is to call in drops. They're the only type of enemy in the Illuminate that can do it. While, bots have, they have the Commissars, but there are also other variants of bots, the troopers that can call in bot drops. There are so many different bug types that can call in bug breaches. But the Illuminate can only call in dropships with the Watchers. So and they're very easy to take care of. They're light armor. They're like no health, a few shots kill it, and they have that glowing beam of light that tells you exactly where they are. The only way that they can call in a bot drop usually is if you're just completely caught off guard by them and you don't know that they're looking at you, and they just call in without you seeing it. But other than that, these things are a absolute joke to have to try and deal with. But overall, kind of mid. I mean, the design's not great. There's kind of a nuisance. Now we have the 3 Overseer variants. We have just the regular Overseer, which has like the staff. The thing about all the Illuminate, right, is that other than the Harvester and the okay, so, but most of the infantry, pretty much all the infantry types are light armor, except for the heads of the Overseers. But if you take body shots, they're pretty easy to deal with. The thing about this variant Overseer, though, is they have the shields. They're like the energy shields, which can be annoying. And if they get close, they can just absolutely destroy you and you have no hope. Especially if you're wearing like heavy or medium armor. These things will kill you in like 2 hits. Just decapitate you. They also have like a method of like shooting beams at you with this thing, which from my experience, they don't typically do. They either have their shields up or they push towards you and try to hit you with their staff. But honestly, I'm gonna put these guys in honorable duty. I'm gonna put you like right here. That's like kind of standard infantry. And then we have the elevated overseers, which is probably my least favorite variant of overseer, mainly because they like to chase you around a lot. Their gun can absolutely destroy your health. They have a high explosive grenade that can easily just destroy your health as well. And it's just annoying having them chase you with their jetpack, and it makes them kind of hard to hit a lot of the time as well. So probably my least favorite Illuminate. The thing about Illuminate is like they don't have a lot of high tier units that I think are really good, but they also don't have like a lot of trash ones. But I'll be getting into that later. Next up, we have the Crescent Overseer, which is the same thing, same armor, same everything, except it has like a heavy cannon that they can either shoot at an arc like artillery, or they can shoot it straight at you. To be honest, these guys really don't, I think, are the least threatening out of all the overseers, because I feel like their artillery doesn't really hit you very often. Like the splash damage doesn't hit you, and what have you. They're kind of like probably like I said, the least threatening. I mean, these guys are annoying because they can fly and their gun melts you and they have grenades. These guys can really fuck you up if they get close, but these guys really don't have any of that. They're just kind of there. Next up, we have Flesh Mob, which is just a amalgamation of, like their name says, that they're Flesh Mob, and they have a like charge state where they kind of like a charger where they can run straight at you, but they have no real glaring weak spots. They're just a big blob of light armor that has a shit ton of health. It takes quite a few grenades to kill it. It takes like a mag and a half of like decent light armor damaging weapon like the Liberator. It takes about a mag or so to kill them, and you know they don't really do much damage when they do charge. I mean, sure they can easily kill you, but they're not as menacing as the chargers are from the bug front. They just have a lot of health and are just annoying to deal with because you gotta kill them. And for that reason, I'm gonna put them in a disappointing service tier here, probably above or below, probably like right here. Next up, we have the Harvester, which is probably the easiest elite unit in the game. I mean, these guys are not that difficult to deal with. They have an energy shield, but it's not very powerful. They have a weak spot in their eye, and they're like the joints of their like where their legs connect to like the main thing. They look really cool, and they do have the ability to really fuck you up with the arc thing and the laser. The laser can really fuck you up. They do a high damage, but they're very weak to. They don't have a lot of health, especially if you hit those weak points. Like a grenade launcher can fuck these things up. A recoilless rifle or quasar can one-shot them. My favorite weapon against the one of my favorite weapons against the Illuminate is the autocannon. You put that thing in AFIT mode, about half a mag probably takes this thing out, usually. So, to be honest, not very threatening. But they do look awesome. They're probably my favorite looking Illuminate unit in the game, but they're just so easy to deal with. Next up, we have the Stingray, which kind of like in the same boat where they could be super easy to deal with, but there's a caveat. If you don't have like an autocannon or a grenade launcher, these things, like an autocannon makes these things a fucking joke. Like these things aren't even like a threat if you have an autocannon and put it in flak mode, you one shot it, it's done. If you have a grenade launcher, it's a bit harder, but still pretty feasible. It takes 2 shots now, but you have to really lead your shots. And anything else, maybe other than like one of the lock-on launchers, this thing is impossible to take down a lot of the time. These things can be super annoying if they catch you by surprise on a strafe run. That shit can easily one-shot you. And if there's multiple on you, that's also really annoying. Not as bad as gunships, but these like they sound really cool though, and I do think they look cool. So I think it's enough to put them in mid tier, or I'll put them in honorable duty tier. They're right there. They sound amazing. They look cool, but can be pretty annoying / easy as fuck to deal with. Like there's like no in between. All right, now we get into the final enemy in the game, and my least favorite in the Illuminate front, and that is the Leviathan, man. You go on a city map, dude, and there's like 2 or 3 of these freaking things. Oh my god. They are so annoying. They will snipe you across from miles away with those freaking lasers. And they will just absolutely melt your freaking health. If they're on the map in a city map and you want to bring a walker, good fucking luck. Because these lasers on the Leviathan will immediately target you. They won't miss, and they will just melt your walker to death. Absolutely freaking insane. These things are like damn near impossible to kill. They're like up there with the Hive Lord in terms of difficulty when it comes to killing them. They're even harder to kill than the Vox Engine. Most people don't even bother with them because you'll have like a map with like 3 or 4 of these things, and they will just be. You just gotta deal with them. Like they're just part of the fucking map now, because they are so hard to kill. There's like no point. They take if you on the same mission that these things usually spawn in, you have the overship mission. The cannon that takes out the freaking overship isn't enough to one-shot this thing. And I think it takes more than an entire ammo supply of recoilless rifle shots to kill this thing, even if you hit their weak points. These things are absolutely ridiculous. They're going in F tier. They're honestly worse than a Dragon Roach. I'll be honest. They're honestly worse than a Dragon Roach. But man, this is another tier list that took me an hour to make. But this is every enemy type in Helldivers. My favorite faction is probably the bots, even though they don't really appear that way based off the spread. It looks like it's pretty even between bugs and bots, but bugs just have a lot of types. My least favorite is probably the Illuminate. I feel like the Illuminate just doesn't have a whole lot of variety in their enemy types at all. It's just like Overseers, Voteless, Flesh Mob, Stingray, and the Harvester. So, and it's pretty boring to fight Illuminate a lot of the time, if I'm being honest. But I'd say the hardest faction in the game is really a debate between the bots and the Terminids, but I think the Terminids are the hardest enemy faction in the game. And I think the easiest is once again the Illuminate, mainly because the only thing that can call in Illuminate reinforcements is the Watcher, man, and the Watcher is easy to dispatch. Anyway, guys, that is all I have for this video. Hope you guys enjoy as always. And I will see you guys in the next one. And let me know in the comments what you think about this tier list if you watched it all the way through. Where do you think, where would you put your favorite enemies and your least favorite enemies? I definitely have more favorite or more least favorite than favorite, especially on the bugs. I have three bugs in disgraceful conduct. So that goes to show me how much I hate the freaking bugs. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video once again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.